But first, let's delve into the headlines of the week with Will Richmond, digital news editor at the Herald News. Hello, Will.
Hi, Donna. How are you?
Hey, very good, very good. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Excellent. We have a lot going on in the news this week. First, let's start with the Eastern Avenue fire. I know there was a death related to that fire. Can you fill us in on the details of the update?
Yeah, certainly a tragic situation there. One person passed away. The fire marshal's office did release the cause late on Wednesday afternoon, pointing to basically the improper use or handling of smoking materials. It also didn't help that it appears there were no working smoke alarms in the three-family tenement as well.
And I know they were also, the fire departments from surrounding towns not only helped, but they were also dealing with frozen pipe issues. Is that right?
Yeah, it was a very busy week for the fire department in terms of frozen pipes bursting all over the city. We all dealt with the extreme cold temperatures over the weekend, and for many businesses and homeowners, that meant burst pipes, and that meant the fire department responding to lend a hand with the problem.
And I do understand that at one point, all of the firefighters were actually working on something, including the tragic fire. And it was a 61-year-old man who lost his life?
Yes, that's the case there. And in addition to doing the things in Fall River, just shortly before the Eastern Avenue fire started, there was a Fall River crew helping out at a Tiverton house fire as well. So, the city firefighters were spread out doing their part to help out even beyond city borders, and certainly communities from outside were coming in as well.
So it worked out technically in the end. Moving on, there was an ordinance subcommittee on ordinances and legislation meeting this week. I know that was a very contentious 3.5 hours. Many city councilors showed up who were also not necessarily on the subcommittee. What was that like? Well,
the council certainly has its questions about the reorganization of the Department of Community Maintenance. I think there's concern about this process moving kind of quickly here in relation to how does the potential privatization of sanitation pick up, factor in, what will that do to the costs, and what will it do to the need for the reorganization as well. So it seems there's a lot of questions about what's going to happen down the road, and should those be answered before they start really deciding anything on the reorganization.
And I know some of the city councilors that I spoke to anyway they have some concerns about the reorganization. They seem to not be getting as much information as they would like. I did talk to Richard Cabaceres this week, and he was saying that the council isn't quite meshing with the mayor in terms of information for the reorganization. Some people are also saying that it's directed at Kenny Pacheco himself, who's currently running the department.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of people in this city that are loyal to Ken. He's been in the public works position since the Lambert administration, so it's going back a while. He's well known. The councilors know him well. He's certainly handled everything from trash pickup to snow plowing in the winter, to pothole filling and all that comes with it over the years. So there's a lot of people in this city that look to Ken to handle a lot of these problems, and I think they feel some questions in terms of how that's going to work going forward.
Well, the Ordinance Committee sent that on to the City Council, correct?
Right. They voted to forward it on to the full council with a recommendation for approval. So certainly that doesn't guarantee approval by the full council, but it is the first step in the process. And
we'll just see how that pans out.
Right.
Moving on to Market Basket is coming to town, so to speak, and there was some talk about a TIF. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the first process in that effort has begun. The TIF board met this week to give initial approval to that effort. Basically, between Market Basket and the effort to redevelop the New Harbor Mall into what will someday potentially be called South Coast Plaza, a approximately $41 million investment that that went to the TIF board and got its initial approval for both separate TIFs, one for Market Basket, one for the mall redevelopment.
And what does that mean in terms of jobs for Market Basket?
Well, for Market Basket, I know they're potentially looking at about 900 total jobs between both projects. And then when it comes to Market Basket itself, I know there's a good mix of permanent and part-time jobs. So, I think that basically that's something waiting to be seen. Job proclamations and reality aren't always one in together, but if they're saying 200 full-time and 300 part-times for the mall redevelopment and 75 full-time and 325 part-time for the Market Basket project, it certainly offers some prospects for some good employment options in the future.
As does Amazon, which has that job fair coming up. I believe it's a few months away, though, correct?
Right. They're just in the beginning stages now. I know the Career Center is starting to receive calls from people who are interested in applying once the opportunity does come. So it does appear the plan is to hold a job fair sometime in a couple months to start streamlining that process and getting potential employees in front of the company.
Last week, I actually talked to Joe Vienna over at the Fall River Career Center, and he says people have been calling in. He's had over 50 calls to 75 calls at that time with people wanting to secure employment at Amazon when it comes down the pike. So there's some potential for jobs in the future, which is, of course, good for the city. Now, what other stories are you following up for next week, Will?
Well, this, for Sunday's paper, will be revisiting the opioid situation in the city again, this time from the perspective of healthcare providers. We talk with a nurse who is specifically trained and working to help those with addictions. And we will also have a closer look at a housing study that is being conducted or is sort of being promoted by State Rep Carol Fiola, who has worked to secure some private funding in partnership with UMass Dartmouth, who will be doing the work on the study to kind of get a better look at what the city's affordable housing stock looks like. And then as the week goes on, the city council will be meeting, and they'll be once again looking at the TIF for Market Basket in the mall, as well as the DCM reorg.
Very good. Okay, Will. Well, thank you very much for your time, and we will talk to you again next week.
All right. You have a good day.
Yes, you too, Will. Thank you.